In the deep, dark corners of an old house where light never reached, a small cat and her weak kitten were facing the harsh realities of life. The cold winds cut through the cracks, and countless hardships stood in their way. But the greatest pain they endured was hunger. Their stomachs were empty, and their bodies lacked the strength to even move. The cat's heart was heavy with sorrow as she watched her kitten growing weaker, and yet there was nothing she could do. Days passed, but each one felt more painful than the last. The cat would go out in search of food, wandering from one place to another, but finding nothing. She would reassure her kitten, saying, "Tomorrow we'll find something to eat." But deep down, she knew that tomorrow was just a distant dream, one that never came true. Together they leaned on each other as they navigated the tough roads of life, but it was getting harder and harder. The cat's body and heart were failing her, and her kitten, once full of energy, was now slowly losing the battle for life. One day, the cat saw her kitten's condition worsen. His body was still frail, but now his eyes lacked the spark that once fought for survival. His condition had deteriorated so much that the cat feared this might be the end. Desperate, she decided that she would do whatever it took to save him. But once again, her search for food yielded nothing. Weak and exhausted, the cat ventured out once more, summoning whatever strength she had left to search for food. She wandered from alley to alley, from warehouse to warehouse, but hours passed, and still there was nothing. She returned, empty-handed, but when she saw her kitten's condition, a terrifying feeling settled in her heart. This might be the end. With what little strength she had, she gathered her kitten in her arms, trying to comfort him, but now her own condition was starting to fail as well. It felt as though they were both walking the same path, the one with no return. As dawn broke and soft light spilled into the streets, a 70-year-old woman, out for her morning walk with her son and daughter-in-law, passed by the old house. In her small world, no one took notice of her, but as she walked past, something caught her eye, a pitiable sight that gripped her heart. There, in the corner of the dark house, were the frail cat and her ailing kitten, their eyes filled with helplessness, their hearts filled with fear. The old woman's heart swelled with compassion. She immediately slowed her pace and approached the two cats, who looked so weak they could hardly stand. Without hesitation, the woman decided to take them home with her. At her house, she placed them near a warm fireplace and provided them with milk and food. Slowly, the cats began to regain their strength, and the woman wrapped them in the warmth of her love. It felt like a new beginning, not only for the cats, but for the old woman too, as a new light entered her life. As days passed, the cats, nourished by the woman's care and affection, began to recover. Their weakness faded, and soon their bodies became fuller. Their fur grew soft and shiny, and the spark of life returned to their eyes. The cats began to follow the old woman around, always staying by her side. They helped her in the kitchen, they followed her into the garden, and when she went out, they were there too. Every task became a shared joy, and the love between them grew deeper. This bond became more than just one between a human and pets. It was a deep, unspoken relationship based on mutual care and trust. The old woman realized that these cats were no longer just animals to her. They were her family, her companions, and she loved them even more than she could love a child. One day, the woman fell suddenly ill. Her condition deteriorated quickly, and she was bedridden, unable to move. The cats, who had once been weak, now sprang into action. They hovered around her, purring and comforting her, offering their presence. Whenever she stirred, they were there, providing comfort, as if they understood that this was their time to take care of her. The cats, once frail and powerless, now took on the role of protectors. They fed her, kept her warm, and when she began to get out of bed, they gently arranged her shoes by her feet. This was no longer just a one-sided bond. It had turned into a beautiful, selfless relationship. The cats would do anything to care for the woman, just as she had cared for them. As the days passed, the woman's condition worsened, and her son, seeing her deteriorate, finally decided to take her to the hospital. One morning, when her breath had become even more labored, he hurriedly called an ambulance. The cats, now loyal companions, grew frantic at the sight. They refused to let her go without them. As soon as the ambulance doors opened, the cats darted inside, determined to stay by the woman's side. At the hospital, the cats stayed close by her, never leaving her bedside. They softly pawed at her hands as if trying to reassure her while also sharing in her pain. They stayed with her, even as her condition grew worse, offering a silent, constant presence. For the cats, this wasn't just a human. They had grown to see her as a mother, a friend, a protector. She was everything to them, and as the days passed, they stayed with her, their presence a small glimmer of hope in an altogether hopeless situation. Eventually, that fateful day arrived, the one neither the woman nor the cats had ever anticipated. Her body could fight no more, and she peacefully passed away. The cats, sensing the end, mourned deeply, as though the very essence of their world had slipped away. As her body was taken from the house, the cats followed, their hearts heavy with sorrow. Every step they took behind her coffin was a silent expression of grief, a pain that only true love could bring. When they reached the cemetery and her body was lowered into the ground, the cats circled her grave, their hearts breaking. They knew, deep inside, that this was the end. The cats remained by her grave for days, unwilling to leave. They had no desire to go home without her. Each day, they would sit at her grave, resting their paws on the earth as if trying to feel her presence once more. Whenever anyone tried to take them back, they refused to leave. They could not bear to be separated from the woman they loved. They stayed by her grave day after day, as if to say, "You were our world, and we will never forget you." The love between them had transcended life, and the cats couldn't imagine a world without the one who had given them life.